Okay, so we'll call the Infrastructure and Parks Trails meeting to order, 7:02 for October the 16th, 2023. We have a kind of a verbal agenda. We got to look at projects ongoing and discussions on upcoming projects for budget purposes. So I think we'll start out with the projects we have ongoing. Maybe we can get some reports. I know we have certainly have the Yoho Park out in Yoho Lake.
Yeah, so
We've
we
got-
need an update on as to whether we've actually acquired that property yet or
Yeah.
not.
And we got the BMX Park
Yeah, in the storage building.
in the storage building.
And I have updates on those as well.
Okay, we've got the kitchen up at the.
Yep.
The fire hall, the Kingster Station 1.
Yeah.
And we've got the church.
The church is another one.
What else we got?
We still need to, we have the Ralph Gorman, we still need to finish with that, with
The-
the fencing.
Gotta get an update on that. Did we ever get the deed, Cox and Palmer, the deed to do up on that?
No, we haven't yet.
And Fundy Fencing is supposed to fence that too.
Yep.
At the same
Yeah, that's
time.
what she was just saying.
And Eugene's supposed to come back and put some soil in there to take care of that wet area.
We
So-
also have the Brookdale Park to finish off the volleyball, beach volleyball court next
Okay.
spring and all that stuff,
Okay.
so.
So we certainly have, lots of projects on the go. So it's just a matter of,
Yep, so let's start. So the BMX trail, recreation director Taylor Bradley has been talking to Ryan. So today we got email from him. He wants to buy everything now so that we'll have it, because he really wants to get the gravel moved onto the property, because a lot of times it's nice enough for them to work, but the gravel pits and stuff aren't open yet.
the
So
roads
if
are
it's
closed
already,
too for anything heavyweight in the spring.
so
right?
everything,
Makes sense.
so I was talking to Eugene Henry also today. He has saved us out 2 or 3 really large boulders, because I am worried that if we put that gravel there, then somebody's going to come with a truck and it's going to disappear. So if we can put some boulders there, that should alleviate that happening. The lumber for it, we will store in our storage unit. So all of that will be done. Ryan just wanted to know if we wanted to pay for everything ourselves first, or if we wanted him to pay for it and then him invoice us. I think that's the cleaner way, because we have done the contract with him. So
That makes sense, because we're paying him, so he's looking after it.
Yeah.
He invoices us, we pay the bill. So.
yep. So
That was
So
a
know
nice-
the exact things to order and stuff too.
Right.
rather than-
Well,
so
take a chance we screw something up and order something we don't really need, or the wrong thing, or something like that. So this way he's got it, he knows what he wants, and he can invoice us accordingly.
Exactly.
What's he want for material?
it's going to be the gravel and the lumber.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And okay, so I was doing up all the tenders for all of our snowplow removal and all that stuff. So I did up the tender for the storage and garage and warming hut. I had sent RSC 11 it to review for me. I had given them the tender, or the documents that we had given them. There is tons of things that we need to change on this, the way it is written. So the diagram that we gave them, it's got all kinds of windows, but yet in the tender, we had said that we don't want windows for security reasons. This is going to escalate the cost by having that warming hut on there, because now that we have it open to the public, we're going to have to do a lot of paving. The side has to be paved. Everything has to be wheelchair accessible. It's going to have to be all those codes. It's going to cost a lot more than what just the storage garage is going to be.
Well, we knew that.
Everything's gonna be fire rated, which we knew.
Yeah, we knew that because it was supposed to, that's a different budget, right, than the storage building.
Well, it's only 50,000.
That's all we had.
The
budgeted
gas
back
tax
then.
is only covering 50,000 for the warming hut. So, it's probably with where we have to make it wheelchair accessible and everything else, it's probably going to be in close to $100,000 to $200,000 more onto the storage building. Or whatever. So with that, the way that we kind of had it, we really need to go into a lot more details on it. So for example, the garage doors, we said that one would be 8 feet high, one would be 12 foot high, and 8 feet wide. So Lonnie said if we put the tracks on our side-by-side, which I think we sold, didn't we? But if we got tracks, it's probably not gonna go in the storage building. He said also, be thinking long-term. He said you guys have talked about taking on roads or needing, you never know if the province is going to pass them down later on. We don't want to have to build a building and then turn around and we can't put in any of those trucks or anything like that. He said if you have even to an excavator or something, it's not going to fit.
Well, it's never
But
designed
I
for
don't
that.
envision this as being
No.
a municipal.
No.
No, and we're not either. We're just saying like, it would probably be, if you're gonna do that, like probably do them both 12 feet wide and 12 feet high to make them,
Well, that's fine, as long as we have at least one 12-foot door, otherwise you'll never get the tractor and never carrying any load.
right, so he's just saying like kind of, if you're gonna do it, you might as well kind of be thinking of what we're going to need in
What are
a
the size
couple
of
of
the doors
years.
at the fire station? Do you know?
They're 12-foot, aren't they?
Oh, they're 16 high on one side, just under 14 on the old part.
Okay,
I'm gonna say they're probably 16 feet wide.
okay.
Be 14 or 16.
Just have an idea in my mind, but, you know, really.
So,
Yeah.
Realistically though, getting back to the warming shelter,
Mhm.
do we really want to spend $100,000 on a warming shelter that we're not probably gonna use very much because of climate change? We have no cooling system underneath that paved surface. So realistically, a rink may last a month at the very, very most. Probably not at all, most of the winter. Like, is it gonna be used for anything else other than people coming to change their shoes to go to a rink that we're probably not gonna be able to use very often? It's just a question I think we should think. Not that I'm against having it, it's just that I think it's a question we should consider.
Wouldn't we have all our equipment out there for the summer that you're gonna have, like your pickleball equipment, all of that stuff that you're gonna be renting out?
But then it's a
Or
storage shed,
loaning out, I should say.
but then it's a storage shed and it doesn't need to be accessible to the public, and you don't need to have all that.
Yeah, if it's just a storage shed, not a warming hut, because we
Yeah.
were going with a warming hut to capitalize on the gas tax.
mhm.
And if the gas tax is only gonna put in $50,000 to something that's gonna cost us maybe $200,000,
Yeah.
then that kinda defeats the purpose. So we're kinda,
It's just a
we're
thought.
kinda
What
shooting
about
ourselves in the foot.
long-term thinking of the church as a warming shed? If we're gonna put $100,000 into it, it would make sense people could go over there.
It's further away though from where
And-
people would be
Yeah,
generally
and
sitting.
it's
and
going
stuff.
to be,
Well, it's
The
not,
recreation
like,
It's
look
a-
at other
Shit.
places.
It's a long walk and a pair of skates.
Not really. Think about walking down hallways in pair skates.
Yeah, but they're
It's a
rubberized,
significantly long
they're usually
walk.
rubberized surface in the hallways for
Yeah, that's
skates.
400 feet.
Yeah,
and I mean, we have the plans for the shed, or for the shed.
for the church anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So I just assume,
I mean, we should look at it.
we need a storage building. We
Yeah.
don't need a warming shed. The idea of the warming hut was to capitalize on
Well-
that.
We're about looking at it down the road.
Like 2 phases, like doing one now and the capability of adding it later on.
Because there's nothing saying that you can't kind of plan for it in the stages now
Yeah.
and add to it later on.
Yeah, like have the area marked out and stuff like that and reserved kind of for that.
Have it set that if you wanna build on, you can.
Yeah,
Not
Isn't
like
that
some-
what they suggested? When we discussed it
Yeah,
before,
they did, yeah.
didn't they discuss that before? Plus the fact that when we were talking about we had it as a smaller spot, and then they just said, well, maybe you should make it bigger so you can use it for other
Right.
things. So,
And switch to dimensional
yes.
sizes, so not going,
Yeah, it was the 16 foot was
Yeah.
the big thing in cost,
Yeah.
right, that dropped the price of it substantially.
Yeah, we had a mezzanine floor in there at one time, but like I said, doing that was so costly.
Yeah, because it had to be engineered wood and stuff.
Yeah,
So anyway, I told the Regional Service Commission, I'm putting this on hold.
Until we make a decision.
No, probably for at least maybe the end of November, December, before I put this quote out. It's not something until April anyway, but we've got so many others that need to be out before the end of the year that so we could discuss this further. It's the only thing that I think we kind of wanted to know for budget purposes, but we could always budget for it. We just wouldn't have the exact figure kind of thing. So, I mean, there's always borrowing that we could do if it was really high. I know that we had the quote before, and that came in at $439 or something like that. That was like a year or so ago. So they said, when I was talking to them from the Regional Service Commission, they said that you can probably count on $650 or whatever. So
for both sets of buildings or just the storage building?
well, that was kind of like both, but on those quotes they were a little bit different too. There was the store or the warming hut was a little bit separated on those two. So I think if you guys are okay, I would just rather get all of the ones that we absolutely know and that we've got to have for budget purposes, and this one will just wait. Like you can still, it's not gonna be $50,000, so if we're gonna go into budget, like you can probably count on at least 400,000 for a building. Kind
Not
of thing.
including the warming hut. Yeah.
Or whatever, so, we do have money in our capital reserves, if we had to go into that, we can borrow from the Municipal Capital Borrowing Board.
Yeah, well, I think we need to have quite a serious thought on that, 'cause I mean, it's one thing if you're adding on something, like a lean-to type thing where somebody can go in and get where there's heat and put your shoes on. When it starts turning into a, major $200,000 project just to put skates on, when you could rent a
Right.
storage, you could buy a storage building up here, put heat in it,
Yeah.
and you put your skates on. I mean,
And
it's-
we also, before we can even think about that, we've gotta get lights out there, we've got
Yeah,
to
there's
get that
that.
cooling thing, it's a rubberized white mat or something that you have to have,
Oh, yes,
because
yes, yeah, 'cause of
the
heat,
sun,
yeah,
because
sun.
it heats up anything that's dark, so you've got to put something that's white. You get it from somewhere up in Woodstock, I believe,
oh, I just bought my ring glider online.
or
And
whatever,
it's
so.
just a 6 mil poly, and it's super white, and it's supposed to help reflect the heat. There's hundreds of companies out there
Right.
that do it.
And we also have water. We have absolutely no pressure
Oh, really?
here whatsoever.
Good God, it's rained as much as it has, you'd think.
So that is going to be a major issue. Flooding it is going to be a major issue, because you've got to do it pretty well at night when it's cold or whatever.
The big fire.
Dan is not going to have time to do this, so you're going to have to be hiring somebody to look after it, and it's a lot of work, I know.
You'd have to bring the tank or
Yeah.
fire tanker in.
No, it's not
No,
worth
it has to
because
be a smaller hose.
$1,000 to replace them valves
Oh,
when they bust.
Yeah,
We've done that experiment.
The other
Yeah.
concern now that I have, that I didn't originally, is after seeing the issues we had with the asphalt shifting and stuff like that, what about the extra weight, putting that enormous amount of weight on there with the ice and the water? Is that gonna crack our asphalt?
I don't think so. I really don't think so. It's spread over a big surface, I don't think. it
To be-
would,
For my benefit, where are we talking?
This
Oh,
is
sorry, the-
multi-purpose
where the
paved surface right
fence
next door
is.
here.
Okay.
We've been talking about doing that and then having like an ice surface in the wintertime.
Okay.
Yeah, but like I said, the problem being was trying to keep an ice surface these
Yeah,
days.
yeah.
I mean, I know
Yeah, this
lots
is
of people in the subdivision that have had trouble trying to keep a little outdoor rink going, let alone a big one.
Well, and this is what they were saying, so you can spray for a little bit. Because our hoses are little, then you are coiling it all back up, you're bringing it in. We'll say it's Dan. He comes in and makes a cup of coffee, and then he turns around and he has to go back out again, and he sprays it for a little bit longer, and then he's got to lug the hose back in because you can't leave it out there in the
Well, they'll
cold,
freeze, yeah.
right? So,
We should almost, if you did think about it, even if it's not this year, say if we do it, warm water
Yes,
is way quicker.
yeah.
Yeah, it
Been there.
freezes like instantly. It's, I played with it, and they used to flood the one out in Nigel Settlement down at the ball field, and it was water from the well, but it was warm enough that when I was flooding it at like -30, there was steam. So, and then we did use the truck once or twice, and I could get 2 or 3 layers on of that room temperature water before it got too cold, and then.
okay.
So at home, I use a spring for my own, and it's pretty good. But it is a lot of work, and it'll take. The thing of it is once it's established, it won't take that much water. It's just a matter of layering it, just making it smooth again, filling in.
Yeah.
So there's all kinds of tricks to the trade. So
I
this was on that
see,
committee.
I see an outdoor rink as to me, a big community builder, like that's where people want to go or
Yeah.
whatever. And you're right, it probably is not gonna last very long, given the winters that we've had, the last few winters. But I know in Pepper Creek, what they had done, once it was established, like once it was set up, they ran a volunteer schedule. That, like if kids wanted to actually be out there with their dads and whatever, then they had a roster. You're responsible for like, and that's how
Great
they had to run it. So it might be something we can look
Yeah.
at.
It would have to be, because really, we don't have the staff to be able to do that, so.
When I was a
um,
kid, I did it. Our rink, our public rink at the school,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
they gave me a little honorarium. And that was my job. And I'd go out
the city done our rink at
twice a
school.
week and I'd flood.
Garden Creek had one there for years, and they
We did the community rink in Nelson just as a group of teenagers,
Yes.
looked after it, you know. Took the snow off it, made like a barrel with some mop heads on it to flood it on it,
Yeah.
you know.
I think Yogo
So-
will use a hockey stick with a sock on
Yeah, but it was looked after by the community. Again, it was at the fire hall, and the fire hall didn't have the staff look after it. So the community either looked after it or there's no rink. So it's as simple as that.
Yeah.
And this year, is it even something we wanted to do? Because it only really got paved this year. Didn't they say they would have liked it to
For
wait
it
for
to
a
sit.
year,
Yeah.
cure for at least a year?
It
before
definitely
we
won't
did
be
it?
this winter, because,
Okay. So I
well,
just
we've
want-
gotta get lights and everything else, right?
Right.
So,
So we really
I
need to
think that's-
then set a priority then. So this is not necessarily a priority for this, but the lights and that have to be.
yes, so I think
Okay.
during budget,
Okay,
we should budget
The
for
lighting.
this blanket
and yeah.
thing that you
Yeah.
need to have.
Like I said, there's 20 just in Canada that have that, not necessarily just in Woodstock. So
Right.
I got mine in Woodstock a couple years ago, but I found a cheaper one, similar product online for a little bit cheaper.
Right.
it. Years ago, we
So-
used to be able to go to Kingsclear Tree Nursery and take the inside liner off the greenhouses, and they go
Yeah.
there. I've used them numerous times.
They've tried, years ago when they built the basketball court out in Nigel Settlement, they tried it with clear poly, but it didn't work. Even in the cold days in January, they got a friend of mine to go down with his backhoe, and as soon as his front tires hit it, it was just,
Crumble.
they just pushed it all away because it wasn't froze.
Yeah, the inside liner, at least they used to be when I was there, the inside liners are white, they have up there. Now, whether they're the same, I'm not sure how many mil they were, but I know we got one a couple
I
times.
just do 6 at home.
Yeah,
We can go right up to 16.
I
Yeah,
think that I still have some in the
yeah,
loft,
I don't know.
but I don't think it would be.
Oh, that would be no good now, because it'd be too dried out, but you have to get a new one.
The
Okay.
conduit was run for the electrical though, right?
The what?
The conduit was run for the electrical when we're putting it down? I think that was part of the project, was it not?
Conduit.
Conduit, electrical?
Yes, I believe for the lights,
Yeah.
yes.
Yes.
Like to one spot and then go from there,
Yeah.
a couple different spots.
I'm not sure what they did, but I know that I've talked about having conduit.
Because I know the lighting will go hand in hand for the basketball court.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
It's
would,
just in
yeah.
general, right?
But, yeah, so it's just something that we've got to keep in mind. But I don't know anything about the geothermal. Is that going to affect the pressure for water?
How many wells do we have for that?
There's
7, I thought.
7
10,
or something like
I thought there
that.
was 10.
there's 10,
But that's something we'll have to check with the,
yeah.
the people that installed it.
So,
So how much water can we drain off of that before we get into issues, if any?
so you're going to take water off the geothermal well?
Well, it's coming into the wellhead, right, regardless, right?
Oh, so those other 10 wells all feed into the main well, is that how it works? I'm not sure.
I'm not sure either.
So there's not a separate well for, like,
For geothermal, there should be.
no, but
And
I mean,
for
like,
us,
the geothermal's gonna have its own, but do we have our own, is there our own well that's building
For-
that feeds like the water?
yeah, municipal
drinking
water,
like-
yeah. I think there is anyway. I don't think it's the same system.
You know, that's-
I thought geothermal was a sealed system.
Yeah,
I
that's
do
what I
too.
thought too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing
Anyway,
like
so
that.
it's something because I really don't know if we've got enough pressure. Like,
Well, it shouldn't matter the pressure, it means with the volume, I mean, it doesn't matter really how long it takes to, and like you say, the big.
it does if you're the one that's out there in the cold,
Well,
maybe.
I mean, it's annoying,
We could do a temporary cistern in there somewhere.
Oh, yes, yes.
yeah.
Okay, so those are just a few.
I didn't get the water truck to come the first time, and the Maryland does a water truck, but they get water from the city, I think I've seen them out there, they've done it before. I mean, it can be done.
Okay.
Just not this year.
Yeah.
Do it next year.
But something if you want to budget anything for, we'll have to make sure that it's in the budget, okay?
Well, it would be, you know,
The next one.
it wouldn't be an expensive
What's
proposition.
the next one?
Yeah.
So
Moving
the
on.
next one is the Ralph Gorman. So the fencing, we have a quote on that from JIL. I believe, I don't know how much,
Did Fundy not quote? Because I thought we were going to-
JIL did for Fundy.
Oh.
Fundy did for JIL because they were doing the park
Okay.
kind of thing. So I'll look to see what that was. It wasn't bad at all. It was
Didn't seem
fairly
to be, didn't seem to be crazy anyway, yeah.
reasonable.
But we gotta get working on that deed. Gotta
No,
hold
that
costs involved.
they have everything.
The only other thing we were talking about for that is an open house.
Ribbon cutting or something.
Yeah, we,
And we still need a sign down at the Ralph Gorman, and we need a plaque from Hercarts to finish that up.
oops, house, yeah, that open house and stuff should have been done in the spring.
What can be done next week?
Open house, plaque, and what was the other thing?
Sign.
There is
Like
a
a-
sign there already. You want a
Yeah.
different one?
You want a
I'd
different one?
say that's kinda outlived its usefulness, hasn't it? It's still in good shape or what?
Oh, yeah.
Cause we were
I
talking about putting a
thought
new sign in there for like, for the Gorman, Memorial Park or
It
whatnot.
says Ralph Gorman Memorial Park.
On it.
Yeah,
It's,
go have a look at it,
it
see what it
looks
looks
good
like.
to me the last time I was there.
Still in good shape?
Yeah,
Yeah,
unless you wanted something totally different.
well, it's just gonna be a name on the park basically, right, so people can see it. They wanted to keep that, that was part of the deal we made, we'd still hold the name of the Ralph Gorman Memorial Park on there. And we
It's
talked
still
about,
there.
we talked about putting a plaque up that was donated by the Hercart family to the community. So it'd be nice to put some finishing touches on that and get it done. And we still gotta get a hold of Eugene and see, it's been such a terrible summer, I don't think he's struck any soil over there because it's been so wet. And the fall hasn't been much better, so.
But they've been mowing it and stuff, so
Yeah.
they're able to get, or it was mowed
That month, I don't know if.
when
they
I
will.
went by there this summer.
There's not a lot of grass there to mow.
Yeah, there was like a wet spot down, kinda in behind the swing sets basically. There was a wet spot
There
there,
is a little wet spot. It wasn't very big.
but you couldn't get, I don't think you could get a lawn tractor or anything on it, it was too wet. So I know Eugene was talking about bringing more soil in there, and it kind of, this is kind of like a low spot, and just bring it up level, so you wouldn't have that low spot full of, you know, holding, maintaining the water. Something to look at anyway. Because it would be nice to have that project finished and done. We can say it's done.
And
I
then
don't
there's
understand
like-
why the deeds and all this lawyer stuff takes so long. I mean, it's the same, the Scouts' property's been at the lawyers now since July.
Well, that,
That was a hold up with Scouts
I
Canada.
know, but then
Yeah.
they've signed when, August? I mean, it's still been a long time.
but it might not be there, like they might be getting registered now, like it takes a while for all that stuff to get registered as well, so.
Months, I wouldn't think.
Well-
Anyway, it just seems, I mean, Ralph Gorman's been there for
Shouldn't take that.
No,
years.
the Ralph Gorman wasn't, it's been there for, they hadn't done anything, I had sent it. And then mentioned it to them again, and there was issues with the transfer because of the
One being land
name.
titles and one not.
kind of thing, so there's been some work that needed to be done on those, so.
Because when they donated that property to us, our lawyer at the time didn't put it under land titles because there was no money changing hands. So then to find out the property that the people that are donating the other piece of
Yeah.
property is under land titles, so they have to be both under land
Yeah.
titles. So that's been a bit of a holdup, but it's just a matter of getting it done.
Yeah,
Terry, can I just thought of something, when we were talking about, the BMX park,
yeah,
and we were talking about boulders. We're also gonna need boulders in there later, we discussed that before, to stop ATVs and cars going where they shouldn't be going.
so we could just put them off to the side afterwards and then replate, like,
Yeah.
move them around after.
You might need more than
Yeah.
what he was thinking, I'm not sure, but yeah, you might need more than 3.
We need them anyway to restrict
Yes.
traffic, so put them in there now and we'll handle them.
Load in.
Yeah,
Yeah, measure it.
but we do need them.
Okay. So the kitchen upgrades, those quotes, they were checked. Regional Service Commission had changed a couple of things the way I had them worded, so they are going out to the contractors tomorrow. I was hoping that this work was going to be done by the end of November so that you guys could have your kitchen party, or your kitchen party, your Christmas party there for the fire department. Just in case it can't be in December, I have booked us off here
Okay.
as well, so that, because I was talking to Nick and he said it really didn't matter which kitchen he was in, kind of thing. So, we had one weekend opened, and so we booked in here.
Sounds like the 9th.
I think that's when it was, so
You sure?
I can double check. I had looked to see when you guys were having it there, and I'm pretty sure it was the same weekend or whatever, so, worst case, we could have it there, have it here instead of there.
So you said the tender's going out tomorrow,
The tenders are going out tomorrow, yeah.
and when do they have to be in by?
It was going to be Monday, but that obviously isn't going to be quite enough time. So the list that I gave you guys with all of the meetings, I'm actually going to put it for the 30th. We have a budget meeting that night, so I think what I'll do is maybe have a special meeting right before our budget meeting, and we'll just award that tender or whatever. It shouldn't take too long. I know when I had gone to Kent's just to see if it was possible within our budgeted amount, if we would even be able to replace all the cupboards and stuff. And so I went to Kent's and picked out cupboards, and she was literally like 2 hours and figured out what we needed for, like I gave her all the pictures, the dimensions and stuff, and she came back with a quote and stuff. So like 30, I think it was 37 cupboards, and it was like 11,000.
So then the work will start as soon as they can, I'm assuming.
Yep.
Okay.
So in the meantime, like they could be, like when they're waiting for the cupboards, they could be laying the floor, they could be ripping down the kitchen that is there, they could be painting and different stuff. So it's not like they aren't going to start until, 5 weeks or whatever, until they got the product. When I was talking to a couple of the contractors, they said that usually about 4 to 5 weeks is when they can get the product. And they would probably need like 2 days to put it all together, 2 to 3 days. So
that's expected to be done by December 31st at the latest.
well, it has to be, because that was part of the project through the gas tax, and we need it finished by December 31st or whatever, and that should.
And that's part of the tender? That they'd have to finish by December 31st?
Yep. Yes, it is. Yeah.
Perfect. So we don't have to budget for that
No,
for 2024? That's all?
no, it will be all complete. So that includes like the kitchen renovation, so it's going to be the floor, the countertops are going to be stainless steel. There's going to be a 4-inch backsplash kind of thing that goes up. The painting, the heat pump, and then new exterior doors out in the community hall or whatever. So yeah, so that should be done pretty soon. So next on your list then was the Brookdale Park. Oh, Brookdale Park, so that's your BMX. And then,
Except-
but then you also wanted to talk about the volleyball?
I don't know what extra is needed. I know they bought a lot of equipment
So.
this year, but they were having problems with getting it installed, so I'm not sure where they were with that. If there was anything else needed, if Terry would be able to tell us though.
Yeah, Taylor Sherry, actually, she was going to come tonight and then she wasn't able to, so I'll follow up with that. I know that we bought the volleyball nets
And the
The
covers.
sleeves.
and the sleeves.
But they said they didn't fit or something, they had the wrong, something wasn't quite right.
Okay,
So they needed to order something, so I don't know if that was done or if it's something we need to buy for 2024. I'm not sure.
Something to follow up with
Yeah.
Taylor, Jerry tomorrow.
and we would never have to budget for it anyway, because we could always use our gas, well, it's not really capital.
I'm
We
assuming
always have money and for supplies and stuff under recreation anyway, so.
And I'm assuming it wasn't a lot of money.
No.
anyway. So, but
Yeah,
we used to know.
yeah, because if it had been anything over 5,000, it would have had to come back for a motion from you guys. I would have had to bring it back, and I didn't, so. Okay, so next, so the Yoho Park. So that the Scouts has signed off, so Councillor Bringlow, just so that you know, we bought a parcel of land down by the Scout
Okay.
Lodge or whatever, and we're going to put in a park and stuff
Okay.
there.
That's the question I had. Can you buy land with the gas tax money?
With gas tax, no,
No.
no. So you can buy whatever you need to
That
go
goes
on
on
it,
Go on
but
it,
we have to pay for the thing. So that was already a budgeted thing, and I'd really like to get that off of the books this year, so I'm hoping to be able to
Get that finalized.
pay that off,
But
yeah.
next year we'll need money in there to work on that land. That's,
Yes.
that's gotta be cleared for sure.
Yeah, we've got to, well,
We
yeah,
also need a plan.
Yeah, you gotta have a plan.
yes, a lot of time.
Decide how much we're gonna cut out of it. We need a parking area,
We need a parking area, and we need a playground area,
yeah.
and we wanted to have a meeting place similar to, bigger than the one back here in the trail, like one of those post and beam type
Yeah,
things, because
yeah.
a lot of people have, we often have the Yoho Lake, so she's meeting out there.
Right,
And
some kind of a shelter.
it's not really a shelter, no, it just, usually on a
Like a
good day.
gazebo?
Hmm?
Like
It's
a gazebo?
It's like a gazebo, only a rectangular affair.
Yeah, something like we have at the picnic shelter.
At the picnic shelter back here, sort of, yeah.
Yeah.
Whereabouts in there is it? Like, so where did we actually,
Do you know when you go in the road?
so the actual Yoho Lake Road or the actual,
No, you
No,
go to
Yoho
Yoho Lake
Lake
Road.
Road.
yeah,
And you know where the first cottage you come to? On the right-hand side, on the lake side?
yeah,
The south property runs directly across from it.
yeah.
And it's, is that 10 acres? Right
Because there
along.
used to be an obstacle course in there
That
many
I-
moons ago.
Yeah, I think somebody told me that that was over more where that green building was.
Oh, okay,
I
yeah.
think it was over on the other side of that, more towards the Miller campsite, I believe that's where that was, because I know Sean Haley told me one time about it, 'cause he was saying when he was a kid, it was there.
Yeah,
And, but I think that's long gone and grown over and whatever. But no, we ended up with that 10 acres. We had wanted 20 acres on the other side, but closer to the end of the road, where the, the little parking lot is for the Miller campsite now.
yeah.
And originally, that's what we had wanted, but then things went sideways. And so this is what we ended, the scouts decided they would sell us. Hopefully in the future, then, if this all goes well, we may be able to get some more, and buy another piece either. We've got a fair bit of road frontage, I think it's around 500 feet. And so we go from that boundary line up to almost, that first turn, this little jog in the road, just before where there's that snowmobile trail comes out.
Okay.
We didn't want to get into that at all, because that way there's, the scouts want to regulate the snowmobiles and that, so we come right up almost to that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's nice, it's nice. I've been in there, and it's actually gonna work out quite well, because during whichever hurricane we had sometime, where the parking lot is supposed to be is mostly all blown up anyway, so it'll be easy going there, so. And then the idea is to do that, hopefully have a rink out there, like a paved surface and a rink out there at some point, and probably washrooms, because it's nowhere, and the rest of the trails. And then we have an agreement, in principle, with the scouts to connect onto all their trails, so they can go away, and so it should be quite nice when it's done.
I also like the thought too, I don't know.
I
everybody's
know,
reference,
it'd be good.
Arians Hill in Wisconsin, so it's basically, I'll send it around to everybody so they can see
We
it.
need a bigger piece of land for
You
that.
might need some more land for it. So
Yeah.
basically what they did out there, they built their building for their park, okay?
Mm.
And then on top of the building, sloping down is a long, massive, basically a slope that they use for, in the summer it's like for the dark sky observation, so like, in the winter they use it for like tobogganing and sliding and stuff like that.
Which would be nice, because it's so flat out there.
Yeah.
The only hill is right on the side of the road, we end up in the middle of the traffic on the 640.
And it looks just spectacular, and it would, if we built the building and put like the storage area in there and the washrooms and stuff in there, and you already really have the roof anyway, you're basically just extending the side of that down, but it would need some space.
It
I
would
don't
need
know.
some space, because we were talking on it being higher than the trees.
Yeah, so it might not even fit in the 500 feet, but
No.
but I have to, unless it's like looped around or something. But anyway, I could send out the picture of that, just especially so Chris can see what we're talking
I know,
about.
I know a nice big clear cut right out back there, though. It's on Crown land that we might be able to,
Yeah.
we'll work on something, dear.
Yeah, I'd be interested in seeing your plans for that. There's no meeting place in Ward 5, anything like that. We talked about that
Yeah.
today.
Well, that's the thing, I was just saying when we started this meeting, like, these are things that we've all been talking about, but now it's really good that you're here, because you can start looking around for some places in your area where people might be interested in having. And the thing is too, everything doesn't have to be a huge, big park.
No,
You can, even if you just had some of your subdivisions, where, you might want just 3 or 4 things. If you drive around the city and look at just some of the little small places, I mean, there are parks there that are no bigger than this room.
Yeah, just little neighborhood parks, a
Yeah,
swing
yeah,
set.
neighborhood parks. So I mean,
whatever.
we need to start doing a whole lot more of that in other places, and if you guys, and really truly if you have something bigger in mind up in Ward 5, then.
Maybe that would be a place for.
But the idea of
Maybe that would be a place for your
gazebo or
thing, 'cause
some
it's
kind
up on
of
a hill.
a 3-season place where you could meet occasionally, maybe.
Yeah.
today.
Yeah, but like
Yeah.
somewhere like that, it could work for there.
That, something like that could work for
And
there
you're
too.
overlooking the St. John River, might be a better spot than Yoho,
It
right?
might be, because Yoho's so flat, you think, you don't think of it is, but it is. Yeah, something over there might
Yeah.
be, we should be looking over, see, that's the thing, we go over the winter, we get all kinds of time to look at that type of thing for another year.
Well, Holly and I and Pat met down there, you know, just kind of tossed around the idea of if we keep that chunk down there, if we keep Station 3 and stuff around, then you could easily put a little bit of a playground out front.
Yeah.
You know,
We actually talked about that this
So you're talking.
morning.
but
We talked about it as part of Parks and Recreation, yeah, because it is a beautiful little spot
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
it's just not the greatest thing in the world in the wintertime to get up and down.
No, it'd be a 3-season deal.
Yeah.
But I
Could
mean,
we ever use that hill as a sliding hill? Or
So
you're
you'd have to have a barrier or something.
Yeah. Guard kids going out the highway.
Try it, but that's it.
But I mean, it's been done before in lots of
stopped real
places
quick.
where they put barriers, so.
Put like a fence up.
Well, it'd be like a
They
little,
put
you could go
straw
down and
or
around, you know what I
whatever.
mean?
Yeah, they make it turn.
Maybe
Yes.
that would be a spot for it, start at the
Right.
top of Station 3.
We don't need to go that high.
It'd be cool, though.
There's a fire truck there, we don't
start right up
need
the tree nursery and just right down.
Wait, I'll send the pictures out anyway, so you guys can see. 'cause
That
I
is
like
a
the
nice,
property.
that's a nice little
Unless there's
hill.
property up in,
Um,
and I don't think there is
I don't
much
think-
property up
no,
in
there's
there.
not much up for grabs anymore.
No.
But that is a piece of ground right there in front of that place.
It is, yeah.
Whether it's suitable or not, I don't know. That's
But I mean,
for
all
the
these
road
things are worth
discussion.
looking at.
Yeah,
And
'cause
and
we-
you should
we
send
looked
out
at
that, because it
Yeah,
really
we'll
is.
send it
Talk
just
around
by
IZ.
Yeah, yeah, because I've seen the thing that he's talking about, and it really is impressive.
Yeah. So our gas tax, the Canada Community Building Fund, our new plan starts in January for the next 4 years or whatever.
Do
So
we know our amount yet,
for next year,
for what we're beginning, now that we're all together with our, no, they haven't announced yet. I mean, it's gotta be huge.
I don't.
It's based on head count, isn't it? I thought.
The head count
No.
or tax base?
No, it's
It's
a-
a pool.
Yes, another 50 year
Yeah.
rule.
anyway.
It's based on
So
population.
Okay.
even talking about Island View and stuff, like later, we can be putting it in that new plan.
Yeah.
Like, might not know what year we want to do something, but
Down the road.
at least if we kind of put something
Go see
in.
Joey Jones.
If you get it into like at least the 5-year plan.
Yeah.
We should go see Joey Jones and get that.
So the
Yeah, they're gonna develop, that's gonna be subdivision, I
Yoho
think.
Lake, are you expecting to, Yoho Lake,
Yes.
are you expecting to put a park there this year? Like in 2024, not in the
Yes.
next 2 months?
Yes. At least get it started.
Yeah.
You know, get
No,
the
like I know you want to,
playground and.
you do want to do the playground and
Nice
stuff
little
in
playground.
24?
If you could get the parking lot, playground, and the little post and beam thingy done, because I mean, those are not expensive.
So
we-
before budget, I better
it'd be-
start.
Yeah, it'd be good to, yeah, we should get together on just.
So what type of playground are you looking at? Are you thinking woods like our playground
Yes,
here?
yeah, I mean, yes, that needs to be out there, you know.
Yeah, get away from the metal and concrete.
Yeah, get away from the metal and the concrete and whatever. And a wooden type playground like this one. Actually, one of my neighbors, I know, I don't know if he's got this thing from Atlantic Post and Beam or not, but he's got, I don't know, he's building something out there, I'm not sure if it's his shed or his camp, but I mean, it's beautiful. He's got the big posts up, so I might check and see where he's getting that from. I'm assuming Atlantic Post and Beam, which is probably the only place we're gonna get it.
Well, you talk to the school too, because they put in like that outdoor classroom area, it's all big beams
Oh,
there
yeah,
too.
see where they get
So
that
they
from.
might want to.
Yeah, I mean, those, yeah, and those things, I mean, we don't need an outdoor classroom, we just need basically the playground equipment, the big, something bigger than what we have up here at the corner, because that wouldn't be big enough to hold a meeting or have a, you know, like a party or something like that, a picnic or whatever. And all I really want is that thing that you hang on, it's that thing I want. I want one of those.
The zip
Gravity
line.
rail.
The gravity rail.
Gravity.
Luckily, I'm gravity rail, that's what, I have to go raise the money for it myself. We're having one.
So should
Okay.
we be asking like a playground company to design?
Oh, definitely. So that's what I'm saying.
Yes,
We're gonna
Yeah,
have,
it should be, yeah.
like, before next week, we're going to have to be seeing if somebody can give us some budget numbers. Like we're getting kind of late in the year to be saying, oh yeah, well, this is what I want for a playground when
Yeah.
we haven't
Budget.
researched
And-
Yes,
yeah.
we need to, yeah.
anything, right? So,
I had some stuff from before, and I had the gravity rail information before, I can get that again, it would be out of date now, it's been a couple of years. But I can get
but
that.
whatever company did that gravity rail, if it's wooden,
It's
It's
not,
not.
this one thing
That
is
would
not.
oh, that one's,
No, it
okay,
would
so
have to
that's a
come from a
metal.
separate company.
That'd be the only thing though that wouldn't be.
That'd be the only thing that wouldn't be, and it's not a big, structure, like it wouldn't look horribly out of place, we could get it painted green,
Right.
you know.
Geez, I think the only one around for playgrounds now is JIL.
Pretty much.
JIL, there's
There's a place
Play
in
Up
Maine.
Sports in Halifax, or in
There's a
Nova
place in
Scotia,
Maine.
somewhere.
Yeah, Bears did ours.
Bears
They're-
did ours, they're in the States,
So
but
is Jean Bet and JIL the same?
yeah, they use all the same
They use all
company
the same?
or whatever, so, but all of those are metal.
The
So-
gravity rail was from Miracle Recreation, if I remember
They're in Nova
correctly.
Scotia.
Out of Nova
But we could
Scotia.
approach Bears again too, I mean,
We
that's,
could.
that is nice
That's a
stuff.
nice place, yeah.
And it's all natural, it's all
Yeah.
wood. It's held up well.
There's a place in Maine that keeps sending me information, Cedar or something or other, I can get their information. The problem is that with the exchange and stuff. I don't
There's
know.
outdoor classrooms incorporated, based out of Ontario, if I'm not mistaken. But they have a lot of, it's not just outdoor classrooms, but it is wooden.
Wooden structures.
Yeah, there was a company that had contacted me a couple of years ago, and they did a lot of the wooden things, and they were in Ontario. I think, 'cause remember when we were we were looking for the benches,
Yes,
and we were looking at those wooden ones that look like a big log
Yes.
kind of thing. It was
Yes.
through that same company, so we could probably,
It wouldn't take long to get some ideas from them, some
No,
prices.
yeah.
That's fairly
Well, that's
easy.
it, all we need are some prices,
That's right.
right? So
Yeah.
that we
We don't have
have
to
a rough
commit.
idea,
Yeah,
right? We don't have
commit
to
all
commit,
right.
we don't have to narrow
If
it
I can
down super
find
tight,
it,
but we need a budget number.
right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, even if you guys want to research
Sure, I will do some of that. In my
some
spare time, I'm not putting.
ideas, that would be great, because,
Because I think we've waited a long time for this park.
Yeah.
It's time to build it.
Yeah.
and like I said, remember, with that, we don't really need it for the budget per se, because
Right.
any parks can go through our gas tax or
Right.
Canada Community Building Fund. And I won't be doing that new plan until probably January. It has to be, I have to send it in like before April.
What about like clearing, getting a parking lot area? in?
Yeah.
That stuff you're gonna have
Yeah,
to,
that will have
That's
to
what
wait.
we
That's
kinda
gonna have to
need
be
a plan
budgeted
together
for.
that, see what size we'd want.
Well, I measured out, what I'm thinking would probably do out there is one, and I measured out, and I forget what it is, about the size of that lower parking lot we have here.
Yeah.
And that's, cause I think that'll hold about 50 cars, and that's about all you're really.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
Like, at a time, the only time you're gonna probably have that many is when you have like the Yoho Association meeting or something like that.
Yeah, something big.
Or something big, or
Yeah.
you wanna have like we're hoping to have the Yoho days again, didn't have it this year because the executive was still kind of in flux. And their hope is to have that to have their Yoho days celebrations up in there, and that type of thing. So 50 is probably a reasonable.
Yeah, if you can get, like I said, get a size and then get a quote on grubbing and then a quote
Yeah.
on,
I've
gravel.
I've asked around, I'll talk to Boulder Bid Lake again, or I'll talk to Tony Durling, one or the other, because I've asked around about getting it grubbed, and it seems like nobody's, it's hard to get anybody to do anything. But I will check with those two, Tony especially.
Who did the fire hall out here when they did it? Who did the grubbing
I
of
don't
that?
know who did that.
That shouldn't be hard to find out, we should be able to source that, because they did it didn't take them long.
Caldwell Ross done, grabbed 15 acres for me in a day and a half with a D10.
Oh, yeah, it doesn't take, and this won't
So-
take long, there's not much on it.
They have the equipment,
Yeah.
so
What's
So
the
that-
picture of there?
They did.
This is, so I just Googled outdoor wooden commercial, obviously, play sets. And there's a place, it's called
That's what it is,
cedarworks.com, but they're based out of Maine.
That's what
Everywhere?
she's-
What I was
So
talking
it's
about.
better than,
New York,
yes,
yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, this is,
Yeah.
yeah, this,
So
one here is kind of fancy that they show on their, yeah, just look them up.
Yeah, it may be cheaper than Ontario too, because it's a lot closer, and if,
There's all,
Exchange
they've
in
got
the United States.
all different kinds of.
Oh, there's
oh
all
wow,
kinds of stuff.
that's similar to Bears one.
It's
They,
pretty well.
yeah,
They've
got all
got
kinds.
all, they've been sending me stuff, I think I must have checked with them one time when I was checking on the other thing there, the gravity rail, and they've been sending me stuff off and on ever since.
Yeah.
they've
I
got
will
lots
say
of
that Bears is excellent to
Deal with.
deal
Yeah.
with, cause when the spider web, got broken or started to fray, like they were, I think we were 3 days
Oh, yeah.
and they had it
Oh,
sent up, and we had another, issue, something started to, wasn't it with a spike maybe or something like that anyway, and, they had somebody here and fixed
Wow.
it, so they're very good to,
Well, I think we should check them all, I mean.
Yeah.
to
just
work
get
with,
an
so.
idea.
Check a few anyway.
Check it, yeah, all, but check a few.
But that one there,
That
that's,
Cedar Works.
yeah,
looks
that's
like
certainly,
it's
that's
like-
only in Maine, so,
Yeah,
yeah.
and Bears, I mean, I'd check with them again too, because like I say, you get a relationship with them, you know, or their warranty, their service is
Yeah.
good, so. you
We've
know.
had trouble with service, let's be honest.
Yeah.
Various places, so
Yeah.
we can get somebody that we can work with. and-
Yeah, I think for all future contracts, we should verify upfront what is your support and your warranty and coverage, and how quickly can you have people on site and stuff like that. Because of those issues that we've had in the past, not with the playground, but like plenty of other things that
Right.
just, we wait and we wait and we wait for someone to come to fix it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, like I said, install is important too, because the installing that playground wasn't up to scratch, that's for sure.
But that was somebody else.
But that was-
It was a group of the
St. John's.
St. John's.
TRX.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're a no-no.
No, well, that's good, and who knows what
Be
went wrong,
careful.
they could be, you know, different management, I mean, there's a million things
Yeah.
that you should be, yeah. Not really jumping to conclusions.
Okay, so then Yoho, next, the church,
Church. You've still not heard from Brian?
we have not.
Well, I don't know,
It's
maybe,
done for this year.
for
I
short,
was out
short
yesterday.
term, yeah, it's kind of disappointing because the windows would have been really
Yeah.
nice for this year.
Some
I
of
don't
us,
care so much about the painting, but,
does anybody know Brian? Does anybody know anybody that knows and find out what's going
I
on?
can try him again.
I know he's busy
Check.
moving and resetting up portables from school, like, so they took all of them from Priestman.
Yeah,
He
Okay.
moves them like to Moncton or wherever,
Okay.
sets them back up kind of deal.
Right, but yeah, like he hasn't answered Sherry's
Oh, maybe I'll try him
phone
one time.
calls,
I'll try him
we've
one
left him
time
messages,
tomorrow
we've left him
to see.
emails, so.
yeah, that's not like him, so
No.
usually he's pretty quick to respond, so.
Anyway.
Anyway, try to track him down.
All right, well, in that case, we'll just, I mean, I'll do what we can do. We will be reviewing again, I'll get out all the information again, it'll be closer to Christmas before I have time, because it'll stop raining. And we'll get out the information from our plans before, so that these guys who haven't seen it all can get refreshed on it. Talk to
That's all in,
Taylor, having a moment, and get him up to speed on it, and then we'll
for the plans on the
plans
church
for the-
or
yeah,
whatever,
yeah.
so
And so we can bring it all forward again and.
it's all in their package, in their orientation
Oh, is
packages.
it? Oh, good, good, I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Oh, well, bonus.
Yeah,
All
so,
right.
I think that was on your stick.
On the stick, yeah.
Yeah.
In that case, I'll get the stick too, so remind me to go digging through my, so that, to go digging through my files.
Yeah, I'll look to see if, Sherry's got everything on there, but all of that plan that we did through the historical people there.
Don Morrison.
Oh, we also, yeah, we did one through Tom Morrison, but we also did something through,
White
White's, yes.
or whatever, so
Go
we'll
dig that
get
out,
that.
revisit that. Yeah,
So-
so Lee and Pat and I have been kind of, or Lee and Tim and I have been kind of looking at. pulled up
So the
a-
fact that Demerchant is not answering our inquiries, obviously, we're not going to be able to get it done this year.
No.
So, moving forward to the spring is what I'm thinking, and budgeting purposes, at that point, we don't just simply want to do a stopgap measure. What he was going to do was basically make sure everything was
Get
good
wood
for the
dry.
winter
Right.
and all of that stuff. So in the spring, we would want to look at, hopefully by then, having a plan as to how council wants to move forward with it and move it forward, since it's been sitting there so long. Is
Yeah,
That
is
is-
that what everybody wants? Yes?
I hope.
That's the plan.
That's my hope too.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure we were all
Figure
On the
this
same
out.
page.
on the same page. Yeah.
But I mean, if you could get a hold of the merchant, he could probably do everything but paint it. Like, he still could fix the doors and the
Still,
windows.
if you get the doors and windows fixed, that would be
So
very,
that's like having
Yeah,
that property
that's
sitting
not
there.
in the roof.
Yeah,
You mean that spot in the
Yeah,
roof?
yeah, that's the one.
Like the whole roof?
Otherwise, this place is gonna be just rotting
That's right.
in the spring.
I mean, you got your whole back wall that was ripped out, you've
Yeah.
got
It's just a
all
temporary.
underneath of that metal roof is gone.
as long as you keep the water out of it, that's the main thing.
Is the roof gonna hold up to a snow weight, the snow load? I guess is
Well,
the
it
next
did
question.
last winter.
Did last year.
Last year.
A couple of
I
years.
mean,
It's such a slope, I mean, the snow usually
and it's
comes off
metal,
it
so
anyway.
it's
And it's out there in the
sliding.
sun, so that,
Yeah,
But still, if we can get a hold of him and he can do the, you know, at least make it weather tight to some degree.
And there's no additional damage done
Don't know, I haven't seen anything
everything.
apparent, you know. so-
inside, I'm just
Yeah.
curious.
you mean from weather from last year?
Well, and from Hurricane Philippe and all of these.
But it would be nice to have, like I said, have the doors and windows in that, you
Secure.
know, the roof and the gable in. At least have that done up. So, I mean, you can't paint now, it's getting too cold.
No,
but-
and then paint's a minor problem compared to everything else. I'll try them tomorrow maybe, and see. Get a hold of 'em.
I'll reach out to Liz,
Oh, that'd be good.
see what,
Is he a general contractor? Is there nobody else who can work on it?
Yeah, so.
He's the only one that gave us a
no.
quote.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
he's one of
we
the
had
best, like,
somebody else come. So he did all the work on it. He moved it here for us, then he put a foundation and stuff under it. Did the roof
He knows the building pretty good then.
and
Yeah.
stuff on it. And even before we purchased it, he had done work on it for the previous owner, so he's very well aware of the situation on it. So he had put in a quote, and we had another company come and look at it and said that they did not want to put in a quote on it. So we only had the one, and it was like 25,000 for him to fix it
And
up,
he's-
paint it,
He has the
fix
expertise to
windows.
re-putty the windows and
Yeah.
do all that kind of stuff, which is not something that everybody knows how to do. If I did, I would do it myself.
But for budgetary purposes, I'm wondering what we can do.
I guess you guys really need to kind of decide, because White's had said that it was gonna be close to $1 million to fix it, put that addition on, put in bathrooms and septic, so it,
Not for the church.
for the,
We were talking about, because we need bathrooms for, you know, the park, that, well, if you look through your thing there, I think the plan will show
Yeah.
that we're gonna build an addition. There was a bit of confusion. At one point, we talked about putting them on the back, and whoever we talked to first said that would be more expensive. So then we went with someone else who looked at it and said, well, putting an addition out to the side with a little kitchen and that sort of thing, so that, you know, you can use that as a community space. And then they said, well, that's the more expensive way to go. So now we've got to determine whether we're better to go back and put the bathrooms on the back, or to put something out to the side. And that's what we're gonna have to determine soon. And so we'll sit down and have a look at that again, and talk to maybe the people that gave us the two different plans that we've had, and see, and then, like you say, a cost will have changed. Well, it's been a couple of years. since we looked
it's
at it.
probably now $2 million.
Yeah, I'm taking a petty cash.
Capital borrowing board.
Well, a lot of it can be, there's an awful lot of grants we can get for that. I mean, we can get grants for seniors, we can get grants, you know, we can use our gas tax. We can probably still get something out of Heritage Buildings, and, I mean, there's a lot of funding that we can get. And the reason we were at one point, Chris probably doesn't know this, we were looking at setting up a foundation so that we could actually also get funding from donations, fundraising and that type of thing, which is a little less complicated than if you're going through municipality, but we'll work that out too. So I mean, it's gonna, you know, it's gonna be a lot of money, but it's going to be well worth it in the end, because it's gonna be a really nice, useful building, and we're gonna have washrooms, it'll be washrooms inside for the building, washrooms outside for the park, that we can access from the outside at other hours and that sort of thing, so. It should really, and once you get it landscaped and all that kind of stuff, should be really quite impressive compared to now.
I guess my only question is when do we need to make a decision about what we're doing for budgeting?
Well, I guess if you're kind of planning on something major like this, there's no way we're budgeting
We're
$1
not
million,
budgeting
so
that.
that's gonna have to go through municipal capital borrowing board or something, like,
Can we not budget some from our, like, we've had money in the budget every year, $4,000 or $5,000 or $6,000, $20,000, have we not?
we have money, it's not earmarked, we have money in the
Yeah.
capital reserve if
Capital
you
reserve.
need it.
We
You've got
also-
your money in the gas tax.
We have money in the gas tax, so why would we not just continue with approximately what we've been budgeting, because we had hoped to get this done this year, probably the year before. So why would we not just budget something similar, maybe if we give, you know, can add a percentage or whatever to it, and have that budgeted for this, you know, for our
We
budget?
didn't have anything in the budget this year
I thought we did.
for capital for,
Okay. Well, then we'll
No.
have to put something in.
no,
I thought a lot of it was to be done through
the
the
gas.
community building, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's been the hope.
Well, that was
Yeah.
before it was $1 million, right? That was when it was, the only thousand, maybe 400,000.
Yeah.
So can it be done in phases then, is the next question.
I don't see why not.
Well, certain things, but I mean, you've got to, well,
Certain, yeah.
you've got to, well, you have a septic, you've got to have, you know, the outside structure of it done. I mean, there's probably things that, I mean, I don't really know.
Well, it might come down to the point, so we just finished the blazing that needed to be done for the site plan, so the site plan's gotta go on there. They might come back and say, no, you are not putting in a well and a septic there.
I thought they promised us we're allowed to do whatever we
Yeah,
wanted. but
yeah,
they're
no,
gonna
I don't see that as being an issue.
That's
I'm-
my concern.
So,
I'm
I
not
mean,
sure
that
it's
might
still-
come back and they might say that, I mean,
I think I would fight that pretty hard. We'll just, we'll deal with things as they come along. I mean, I
Yeah.
don't see that being an issue.
so that, I'm hoping that we'll get approvals back on that site plan, within the next couple of weeks or whatever, so.
So since it's related to this project anyway, just to continue on that conversation, whatever happened to us potentially getting the ownership of that property? Is that,
It's still,
We still need
the
to swap, we
things-
still need to buy something.
has to
Yeah.
swap?
They want to swap.
Well, we were talking about possibly something happened with government reform also, where we were getting the properties.
Yeah.
so
Yeah, that's what I
Kingston-
Yeah.
thought was gonna
Yeah,
be.
so, when
So-
I was talking to local government, she said that they still have it flagged, but they haven't transferred the park yet, and,
Because we were hoping we could maybe get a dollar transferred at once.
Yeah, that
Like
was
the
the
property
thought.
in Kingsley and
Yeah.
this
The
one
way for
here.
the swap thing would just
Yeah.
be, it's reform,
Yeah.
just take it.
yeah,
Yeah.
I really think, if you remember when Chris Melvin was the mayor, we all went and talked to, Crown Lands and to the minister and different stuff. We had a couple of meetings. It probably wouldn't hurt for us to go back and say,
Yeah, all the players have changed,
Yeah.
so it's
Oh,
Yeah.
time to
You might
revisit
as well
that.
Yeah.
wait a month or two, because they're not going to change again.
In
Well-
case it changes again. So yeah, that'd be the
But
opportune
it's-
time to get it added in there. But both of the major parties at least say, if you get in, make sure we're on the plan to get that park
Yeah.
free,
Just exactly,
right?
yeah.
That's the time to hit them up.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
gonna be an election.
yeah, so, the mayor was kind of thinking that if we, bought land, Crown Land, or bought land somewhere else, that we might be able to trade it, so.
Swap somewhere?
Yeah, so we talked to, Billy Gillespie, because they own a lot of property. And we thought that we were going to get a bunch for like 20-some thousand dollars, and it was like 400,000.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Kinda.
Well, I looked at some of yours.
So he said,
I
like,
was
you're
shocked.
going to be very surprised, like, just because it's scrub land or what it's called, is that
Well,
correct?
like I said, if you can find a second or third tier lot somewhere that's scrub
Yeah.
land, whatever.
You say that now, it's funny, I don't know when this is a friend who I was talking to the other day who bought 200 acres. Not near here, but off of a highway, and I was amazed at what he paid for it. 40 grand.
That's what we need, something
Yeah.
like that, right? That's doable.
Clear cut.
No, it's not. I was down there on the weekend. That's where my wood came from.
Good deal.
I said, seriously? And you only bought it this year? Last year?
Yeah, so,
No, maybe last year.
But is that an option
Sure.
still on the table?
Yeah. It would probably be the easiest of all the options, but I think we gotta have a meeting with Crown Lands again.
Yeah.
And the
I do
minister,
too.
see if we can put some pressure on there to do it at the same time they're doing they're doing the Kingsclear one, why the earth can't they do this one, really?
well,
there
you're
excuses?
kind of talking two different entities. One is local government, one is, I mean, it's all the
Still
province.
Crown Land,
But it's,
Yeah, but.
Anyway,
yeah.
but it's just, can't hurt to ask.
No, so I really think that a meeting,
Yeah,
Yeah.
there we go.
a
yeah.
meeting should
Trade
be
that.
set up.
Okay, so, then we're not going anywhere with that one right away. Okay.
So that's it for me, unless you guys have,
I just have a few for, like, out David Bell. You know, we tossed the idea around of doing the bike park, the being like pump truck out there, you know, down the road maybe, or, you know, look at it.
Yeah, it'd be nice to have a
For the
second
price of
park, yeah. Because I was shocked at how inexpensive it was to get that done.
And the groundwork's already done, the groundwork's there.
So it might even be cheaper to get, or we can make it a little slightly bigger or something,
Yeah.
like a bigger, it might be worth, well, there's only two engineering companies in the land of Canada that do it. Might be worth trying to talk to them again and see if Ryan would be able to give us a quote to do one of those too, we're talking about it.
so another BMX trail.
That or something, I mean, it'd be nice to have, I started the rink there 15 years ago trying to get it reestablished. And I have lights. I have the power to run over to where I have a sea can, I have the pad ready. I
Maybe
did
that
have
is
the-
where the ring needs to go then, instead of out here.
I mean, it's,
I think the next rink that we build anywhere has got to have underground cooling.
yeah, the refrigeration stuff. I don't know what the other park looks like across the
There's
river.
no point in trying to keep. you know,
Yes,
But
but we really need to crunch the numbers on that because
It's like $1 million.
not only that, but the electricity bill
Yeah.
for it is ridiculous.
Solar
So-
there, another solar project.
yeah, I have, like I said, I've got the well, I got a well there, I got 2 wells out there. And
So question, could we not do an outdoor rink there this year? Is it doable?
I don't have the, you'd have to get the power run, the remainder of the power. See, I got, the poles are running over to where the
But
pad
that
is.
shouldn't be overly
Yeah,
difficult.
but that shouldn't be that difficult,
Well, I gotta get the
Poles
C
are
can, then you gotta get the heavy power's gonna come,
Yeah.
so you gotta get an electrician.
because the power is
I got
there.
no, but I don't have any poles
Okay,
or anything like that. Now, I quote years ago from Fundy, I think it was for them to come and put 77 posts in for rink boards, was like $12,000 plus tax, which wasn't really crazy because,
but that's something we can look at doing next, like,
yeah,
in 2024.
Exactly.
For the next, not this winter come, but next winter.
oh yeah, like this winter's not,
It's just too late right now, but
Yeah.
I think it's a good idea to explore that and have a look
because
at it.
we can even put it back out to where it originally was,
Yeah.
when they had like a 2-foot pond there and then they made us basically fill it in.
Yeah.
Because of the liability issue of.
Right, having an open pit.
Well, it was drained, so in the fall, you would take it and plug the pipe,
Right,
plug the drain
let it
pipe,
fill up,
let it fill up, and then in the springtime, you drain it.
drain it out again, yeah.
But back then, it was gonna be like $20,000 to put a chain link fence around it, and it's, at the time, there was no parking there.
Yeah, but there's parking now.
Yeah, well, there'd be parking for the other one for sure, and I bought a sea can at the end of the year last year
Yeah.
for the purpose of having the electrical, and a little bit of heat in there for the snow blower and the hoses, and plus be able to change your skates in there and not warm it up, but just a spot.
And it's something we could look at doing over, like I said, over the 2024 season to get ready for late 2024, early
Because
2025.
maybe we can all, everybody go out, take a look and see where the best spot is.
Yeah,
I just thought where it was way in there, you'd have to plow it, but it is what it is.
But that's
Oh, I
something we
was
could,
thinking using your multi-purpose court in the little rink, if you wanted to.
Yeah, the electrical's all messed up there now for
Okay.
it, and I wouldn't be able to get the water there.
No,
It's just too far away.
I'm trying to think.
But,
No, I know. I know what you're
yeah,
saying.
we've already got a rink kind of established
yeah,
right there. We might as
Basically,
well
like I
upgrade
said, I
it.
bought the lights 10 years ago.
yeah.
The boards that I did have, they're rotten, they're gone, they're just,
Yeah.
so we just used it for training purposes. And then,
But I think that's something we can budget for next year, getting that started. That's certainly a good
Mm-hmm.
location.
because when I,
Definitely.
Yeah.
when I looked at some of the outdoor rinks in the city, like up on Baseball Hill, they had 6x6 in the ground. And when I was talking to the guy plowing, he said they're switching, a lot of them switched over to the metal post because if they hit it too hard and they're frozen, it'll cut them right off.
Break them off, yeah.
So
Yeah.
he said, and they had, Fundy was gonna give like it was 2 gates. It was basically gonna be 2 10-foot openings and the hardware to mount the lumber to.
No, I think that's something that should be budgeted for next year.
Yeah, I think
Certainly.
the electrical though should probably be upgraded, like that's probably 10 kilowatt mercury vapor from, if they're that old, right?
I never even got them installed. They're all high pressure, or they're all
Either high pressure sodium
They're
or
all
mercury vapor, it's one or the other.
mercury vapor.
Yeah, see, like that's kind of old technology now, you can get LED
Yeah.
equivalent now, 500 watts, equivalent to 10 kilowatt,
Yeah,
right? It'd be much cheaper operational wise, you
Yeah,
can
than-
get a
than running
500
the-
watt LED light for, geez, $250, right?
because it needs to get it lit properly. At the very minimum, it's going to take 4 posts.
Yeah, it'd be 40 kilowatts, so like
So-
that, so you could do that with 4 to 6 LED lights for a tenth of the cost.
Yeah.
And operational wise, it costs almost nothing to run them the whole year.
So why don't we budget that for next
Yeah.
year?
We should, I can look at it, I can try to get some
Yeah.
better prices on the commercial lights.
I can
So
get- I
if
can
you've
have it
already-
ordered.
Sure.
Got these lights, is it possible to use those lights out here for just like the basketball stuff? Like if,
Like Darren said though, but to install that old
Yeah, they're
saying
technology,
they're
400
Oh,
watt.
I
They're
see,
400
okay.
watt.
they're so expensive to run.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
if they, when they do burn out, and they do, they're expensive. I don't even know if you can replace them anymore. You know,
We
they're,
still
it's
carry light
industrial.
bulbs for them.
Yeah, industrial stuff.
Yeah,
It gotta be, it
it's
can't be
got-
cheap.
Yeah, it gets much cheaper now than
Yeah, oh, yeah.
any
Yeah, I think most
operational.
electricians would say.
Back when
don't
they got the lights, the LEDs were,
Oh, yeah, back then, yeah. they-
Oh, yeah, yeah, they've come down in price so much in the last few years.
Yeah.
but it's a
LEDs.
shame
well,
to
you- yeah.
have them and not use them, right? Like
Yeah.
even if we could put them,
Yeah, but sometimes the old technology is just not
It's
worth
not
using.
worth it.
Oh, yeah.
And it costs so much, it would literally, after maybe a year and a half of using that,
Yeah.
you've already exceeded the cost of getting more efficient LEDs, right? So,
yeah, because their kick now is making buildings more greener, so they're going out and doing retrofits on buildings.
yeah, they're getting rid of mercury vapors and
They're getting
sodium
rid of-
lights now.
They're getting rid of fluorescent bulbs.
That too, yeah.
They're just getting rid of it all and putting all LED.
Yeah.
Well, it's so much cheaper to operate, and the longevity is so long too,
Yeah.
right? So-
And the pricing's down now, like compared to what it was
Yeah.
even 5 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, those fluorescent bulbs and stuff are all hazmat too, right? They have
Yeah.
mercury in them, so.
Well, I think that's something to work and try to get a number on, so we can budget for that for next year.
And then the nature park, when we all walk through there, you know, we should come up with a plan with that, you know, next year maybe put the students out there with saw once or twice and
Yeah.
maybe get the trails hashed out, get them widened out
Yeah.
at least, and we can see,
Because those boardwalks gotta be ripped out of there and new
Yeah,
ones put in, and
exactly.
that's the major issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, they're, you know, if you've been out there, well, we've been out there, they're like that,
Yeah.
it was
they're done.
4 of us. And when the parking lot gets done, then we can figure out where from there, where we wanna go in, so people can park there at the fire hall instead of,
Across the road.
yeah.
That's
Cause we've never plowed, we haven't plowed the ballpark for probably 10 years,
Right.
cause there's really no reason to be in there,
No,
and I don't see a
Nothing.
reason to change it, so, and we do have a lady that uses that every day, 3 or 4 times a day.
okay.
And she walks across the park and then into it,
Yeah.
but if it was, like I said, the trail, when we looked at it, making one there, then at least it's another option that people get in.
Oh,
there.
for sure, yeah.
Is there enough parking? I can't remember, up behind the fire hall for that.
No,
Really?
everybody usually just parked at the ball field. and then just run
Just walk
across the
across,
field.
it's directly across the ball field.
And then,
But we're putting in a
But-
new parking lot.
we can get in, we kind of walked through real quick there that day, and there is a couple options in there for sure.
Yeah.
And once we get it opened up and see
Yep.
what we got,
I
then
just thought it was wet down, but maybe it's wet.
that's all that is, a swamp down there, so.
But that's where we can get MB trails are defunct unfortunately, but there's people that's gas tax money to put those boardwalks and stuff in there.
Cause that used to be a rink where that parking lot is.
Oh, yeah.
Where
Yeah.
we're taking the grass up and where the expansion is,
Okay,
Station 1. There used to be a rink there years ago.
oh, okay.
And a couple of the older guys that were on the fire department that are no longer with us, they come out and flood it at night.
Oh,
They
okay.
just stick the hose out the window and flood it, and it had lights and everything.
Oh, nice.
So,
No, certainly something to look in for budget next year.
But the access point from the parking lot, the new parking lot,
yeah,
to the trail will no longer be through that wetland.
yeah, we could make something.
We
work
could
in
do,
there.
that's
We could do a
the
boardwalk up
point,
there if
right?
we needed
Yeah.
to or something. So,
Yeah, we should have a number for that.
Definitely.
but, I mean, it would be nice to see, work on it. I mean, I'm not saying that we should do it next year, but.
No, but we can get a start on it.
Yeah.
It
But
could
it's
be
like
like a,
everything else. I mean, it takes a while to brush out trails and
Yeah.
get boardwalks put in and
you
Yeah.
gotta start
all
somewhere.
that
Yeah,
stuff.
sure.
So like the 5-year capital plan for the new one that starts next year, that's something we need to get on it, right, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Well, that's like your capital plans, we're talking about like a refrigerated
Mm.
ice surface like the city's got.
Yeah.
Then we should figure out a more central spot and maybe look at it and do it, but
Oh,
I don't know what it costs to run that one over across the river, that Mitchell.
$80,000 a month, isn't it, that they said?
I don't know, I'll find out.
80,000?
$80,000 a month to run that. Halifax has one too. It runs them almost $100,000 a month.
Oh, that's
Okay, I'll find out too. I just got another
Which is
thought.
to me not something
doesn't,
that we
no.
wanna take on.
But
I don't know that.
I just didn't see it being that crazy because there's a lot of places that are doing it now.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
They had a beautiful one when I was down at the UMNB meeting down in Rothsay.
Yeah,
I'll send you pictures. It's right outside their,
I think Dieppe got a big one.
oh, yeah.
It
Most
loops
places have them.
and does all kinds of sorts of things. But I guess, it's something to look at. down
Well, that's
the
two
road.
things to look at though,
Yeah,
like I
there's
said,
things.
is the outdoor rink up there and the trails.
There's no
And
point, you gotta build an arena.
And then,
With a
and the
15-year-old.
vegetation, we gotta do something with that next summer, cause it's creeping in onto the soccer field.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
it's blocking off the road again, like, we had that flattened to curb vandalism,
Right?
and the trees are starting to grow.
Already, yeah.
Well, those old poplar trees, they
Is
grow
it-
a meter and a half a
Yeah.
year,
Is it-
so.
Could you get in there with a bush hog and fix it?
No, you'd almost have to, what we had done 2 summers ago, or, yeah, because when you and I were there talking to Brittany, they had done one part, but they only done 2 sides of it, the sides you can basically see. So everything else, the other 2 sides, should be done because it's growing up through the fence, it's just,
Well, it's gonna
and
look
everything's
good.
creeping out, but the banks going down on the far side are quite steep.
That was Service Master or something that did
I
that.
can't
wasn't
remember,
it?
because they come in and they did it all right there, they chipped it and then like I said, the ditch needs to be done, but that's just somebody with a mulching head and sit there, whether they're sitting on the side of the road or they sit on our property and
Yeah.
take it all out of there again, because it's growing up and you can't see up in there.
No, that'd be the way to do it. Just get, like I said, with a big mulching head on
Yeah.
a backhoe, like, the big backhoes.
And then around the inside of just like I said, the vegetation's creeping right in on the soccer
But
field.
that, like I said, that would be done in a couple of days. They'd have that done.
Yeah,
Yeah. So it's amazing what those machines can do.
yeah.
So, now through the Canada Community Building Fund, fire stations are now on the plans, so we can, because remember,
Yeah, we couldn't.
a few years ago when we were building this one, Chief Kraus wanted the
Tower.
tower and stuff, and it had to be taken off. They didn't agree with it, but it is something now that we are able to utilize those funds if there's anything. So I was actually thinking of the dryers for your
Hoses.
hoses
Yeah,
and stuff, so that might be something that we could look at getting quotes for to see if, how much we should put in for the,
Which, so at that time it was 75 grand, I think is all they wanted for that tower. I can't believe we
yeah,
didn't
it
do
wasn't a lot of
Yeah.
money and
Where would it go then? Would it be an extension on Station
was-
2 or would it go on Station 3?
it was in, at the back of Station 2.
No, but if we build a new one, since it's not in the plan now, which station would we get it?
Oh.
1, 2 or 3?
I don't,
Threes, there'd be no point putting it down there. It'd be either one or two,
yeah.
so.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot more than 75 grand now. We really should have done that time. I can't believe that they talked us out of it, but, because it's gonna be a lot more than 75,000 to do that now after construction's been
Well,
completed.
the way the prices have gone up, you can
Yeah.
bring your account on double.
Yeah, so, one thing that we are going to budget for, Chief Kraus would like to get quotes for, the epoxy, flooring for this fire station. So we're gonna get a quote for there. And Dan and I were thinking that we really should see if we can get a quote for this, our garage area. It would be so much easier to clean and stuff like that out here.
That's gonna be some kind of slippery this winter. It's slippery now when it's wet.
Is
Yeah.
it because,
it's deadly.
okay, because.
I'm surprised for a fire hall
It
you
is
do that.
deadly.
Dan was
It's
actually
not.
saying that it would be less slippery than the cement,
No,
and when he
not
said that, I
cement,
was
all that
like,
stuff.
there's, how could it be? If you wax your floor,
Yeah.
Yeah.
The
No,
one
it's a-
thing they need to work on is there's trucks that need to be replaced.
that is, yes,
So-
we already, know that, so. With talking about trucks, and I had put in my report, the 2002 pumper, has got to have some work. There's only 2 companies that do that type of anything with fire trucks. So Murray has one, Chief Kraus has one, quote. We are getting the other one from, is it Metal Fab? They're the ones that make the fire
They're
trucks?
the ones that made most
Yeah,
of
yeah.
the trucks.
So, he was gonna get a quote from them as well, and just in case there isn't enough money in, the fire budget, I was talking to the auditor, and we had budgeted under the capital, projects to replace Chief Kraus's truck, his regular truck, and we just haven't been able to do that this year or whatever. So the auditor said that this is still a capital thing, so we can take it from those expenses, that capital line or whatever. So
What's the issues on the truck? I can't remember.
he said that there wasn't a whole lot, and I don't think he just got around to buying a new one or whatever, so.
I thought we couldn't insure a truck after 20 years if it's a 2002.
Yeah, it has different, like your front line trucks have to be within
A certain
a certain
date.
year.
Right.
And then after that, see, and that's what's happening with all this local reform. You get Keswick Ridge and Keswick Valley say they get trucks that, their frontline trucks need to be replaced.
Right.
So there's a community now that's gonna have to spend $1.5 million or more to replace 2 trucks. But your insurance rating goes down for your community overall.
Okay.
The less, so the more your trucks, like, so if your frontline trucks over the 25-year, then you basically have a low fire rating and your property insurance goes up
Right.
for your community.
But this is where it's just a pumper
Yeah,
for the water. It's not considered like the
it's not a
front
front
line.
line.
Right,
Okay.
so it doesn't matter. And the issue is finding replacement
You
trucks.
can't find chassis.
You can't find them, so,
Because we pretty much have to switch to 4-doors. We have to get quad cats. Because we're not allowed riding in, like a rescue. We
Right.
used to be able to ride in the back, now we can't. So, because it's not, it
Are they-
doesn't meet CSA or anything.
Are they tandem axles?
No, we won't go tandem.
Yeah, because you have to have a different license for that, don't you?
Yeah, but it just makes them that much more longer
Okay.
and less maneuverable. And we've done it 100 times. We've trained in water shuttles and we can move just as much water with 1,000-gallon trucks that can operate, maneuver them into a spot versus something that's 35 feet long.
Yeah.
So, like the ladder truck. So, try to move that around,
Yeah.
you know, back, and just logistically it doesn't work that way.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll be thinking about anything for the fire station. So like I said, the floors is going to be one. So the floor for
Favorite floors or
here,
not favorite floors?
I wasn't impressed with this stuff.
no?
I've seen a lot of them, but I just wasn't overly impressed with it.
What if it's slippery when wet? It's not a good idea for a fire.
Like I said, it's gonna be murder this,
Yeah.
this winter when we're out in a snowstorm running accidents, and then we come back and
So you've already
So
got
then,
one up there?
they just. the
we just
floors
did
are
the
done.
Harmony flooring, just
Yeah.
did that.
It looks nice. I would do it in my own garage, sure.
But then why are all the fire departments having them done?
I don't know what all the other ones look like though. See, we didn't go red. But I'm assuming because probably they couldn't get it in red's more money. I'm guessing.
But if it's,
So,
doesn't
like
matter on the
anything else,
color, if
right.
it's slippery when wet, doesn't
Yeah.
matter what color it
That's
is.
slippery.
So
But I don't know.
before I jump and do everything, I'd see how this one works out
Yeah.
and see if it's dangerous.
Well,
or
they
not.
already know it's slippery. So Cora went in there the other day in the rain, and
She found out.
one foot went in, kept on going inside the door, and the other one stayed outside. So,
Not a good idea when you're running around trying
well,
to get
like I
things going.
said, it is a great product. I mean, it looks nice and stuff like
Easy
that.
to keep clean,
But easy, yeah, the squeegee won't even take the water off. You pretty much have to mop it off.
mop it up.
Yeah, so it's,
So there's some drawbacks to it.
yeah.
Yeah, before I
And if
jump on the
you
other
get,
ones.
if we replace the machine and we get studs, it is gonna mark it. There's no question about it.
Might be a
So-
good thing.
Yeah, maybe better.
You might want to put some
Yeah.
sand on the top of it.
But I mean, it does look nice, but it's
It's
just,
just not, might not be functional for a fire hall.
I don't know, it'll just, we'll see what happens this winter. They already said it's slippery now, like I said. If you can't push it off with a squeegee,
Yeah,
There's something.
then you're in a mess.
then,
If you gotta mop it, I mean, that
well, we
takes,
have to take those, your indoor mop, your indoor brooms to clean it. Like there's no sweeping it. You gotta take that dust mop and do it. So,
Okay.
that's just my opinion.
yeah.
Maybe we
Well,
should
I
wait then on doing the other ones until we've
Yeah.
got at least a year with that.
I'd run this one
Yeah,
for
I
a year
think
and see
so.
what kind of results you get.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, because everybody I've kind of talked to, they've all thought they were wonderful, and they thought that this one was
nice,
wonderful.
but I mean, if it's gonna be
Die.
slippery, it's gonna be quite slippery when wet.
Somebody in a hurry falls down, breaks a hip or something.
Yeah,
It can happen awful easy.
so. it's-
Our insurance costs just went up. Our liability.
But yeah, I'd rather, I mean, obviously, we're not gonna do it next year anyway, so, but, I mean, it's not something that we'd be getting done right away. We just, logistically, it's not gonna work, because the trucks can't sit outside and freeze.
Can't have
We
that
should
either.
wait though anyway, I think, based on what you're saying now.
Yeah.
anyways.
Yeah, I
So
think
you're
so
open
too.
to see what happens.
Okay.
To me, it's just an accident waiting to happen.
Yeah.
Anything else? Anybody has any things they wanna bring up?
I think that was it, Holly, because we touched on Station 3 about park thing there, and then when we walked through the nature park.
We did. The only other thing that's been brought up before was out at the David Bell Memorial Park, possibly looking at a community garden at that,
Oh, yeah.
setting up a community garden, because there seemed to be an awful lot of space out there.
Oh, there's 15
For it.
acres, I think, sitting there.
That, and the other thing that was mentioned was a splash pad or splash park.
Yeah.
Not a huge one, but a smaller type one. A lot of the places now have it. Joketown has one, Blackville has one.
Yeah.
They
Didn't
all
Blackville
seem-
say it cost them $1 million to put theirs in?
Who?
Blackville?
I
I don't know where we're from. That initially came up when Lauren was here, and we had talked about, somebody had mentioned that they ended up talking to their Blackville or Upper Kingsclear, not Upper Kingsclear, Upper Miramichi,
I don't know if that included the land though, right?
right?
I think the price tag was all inclusive, so what it cost to put in must have been the land. And,
Maybe.
but I don't know.
Just
I don't know for a fact.
It's
so.
an easy thing to check out.
Yeah, there's a guy in
We've-
Centerville that does it.
Yeah,
So I
and
know we used to deliver to him, he's done a pile of them around here, he's done the KOA in Sussex, he's got 2 down there.
I've got the plans that St. George just put in. I think that was probably when Morgan, I can't remember what the price tag was on it.
Yeah.
Whatever, but
Shouldn't be
when,
hard to find out.
Morgan.
Cause in there, when you drive in David Bell, immediately to the left, there's a couple power poles sitting there from the former rink, that would be a great spot, cause it's flatter, and, I mean, you could make it work down there.
The other reason I think we were thinking about that was in terms of drawing people out to that park,
Yeah,
right? So a splash pad kind of area would really draw
Yeah.
young families there.
Well, I just remember why it was so expensive. So they have the water recycling system in it. So it basically takes the water and it filters it
and puts it
and
down.
reuses it rather than, because otherwise it's just an enormous amount of water, right?
And that's what you'd have to have, I mean, there's just no way that well would take it, I mean,
Yeah,
I spent 3 hours out there flooding, and it would never, that pump,
Yeah.
that never stopped, but
Yeah.
so you'd have to have.
That's a lot of water to
you
go.
have to have recycling through and.
Well,
And I
before,
think-
before we go down too far down the road, a couple of phone calls to see what they cost, so we have
Oh,
an
for
idea.
sure.
Yeah.
I think too, most of the places now have a button, like so that you can go in, turn the water on, and it'll start, but then it stops later if there's, and then if people go in, they can turn it on. So if it's not always running, if there's nobody
If there's
around.
nobody there, you don't
The
want
only other
to.
thing we don't have out there, ultimately, when you're talking expansion, as far as the park goes, is we don't have no facilities, no washroom, we have
Yeah, you need water.
a porta potty,
Yeah, well, same thing we have here. Right?
yeah.
Yeah.
So we're gonna have washrooms in all of them eventually.
But,
Starting out here,
Mhm.
and you'll end up there. No, I mean, if you're gonna have these kind of things, you need to have,
Oh, yeah, but I guess, it's all in due time, I guess,
Yeah.
it's all a plan.
because I mean, you've gotta have, when you're, especially like, we'd say, you've got a well already.
Yeah.
You've gotta have a well so that, for most everything that you do, you have to have water at these
Well, you
places.
need multiple wells or something like that, even just to get the initial started.
Oh, yeah,
Before the recycling.
yeah,
kicks
I
in.
mean, in general, at a park, you need to have washrooms.
Is it
Once
real
you get-
rocky there? Like, I know here it's all rock
We're on ledge, yeah.
Yeah.
kind of
No,
thing,
it's
but-
not rocky like
no.
this stuff here, no.
But as far as digging a well, it doesn't, rock doesn't really slow down much.
The other thing I noticed when I was at the Blackville Park, when we're talking about having washrooms, I think we need to look at options when it comes to the washrooms, because they have one there and it works great. It seems like they have a double door, like it's not made out of brick or whatever, but they have kind of like this big door on the outside. They have doors to the washroom, and then they have these bigger doors on the outside that they shut and lock. So people, it's kind of like you'd have to go and break in twice to get to it, kind of thing. But it's wooden. It's not. So I think there's options, because I think the washrooms, if I remember correctly, even for the church building, that was a significant chunk of change. That was, I think, $250,000.
Yeah, they
just for
insisted
the
that it had to have
bathrooms.
specific flooring and stuff like that.
Yeah, so
None of the ones that I see in any of the
No.
other cities and stuff, none of them have it.
No.
Because Pam says the same thing, they're public things, it's just like any other regular washroom outside, and it's outdoors, it's just, or even, you don't even need to go that far. If you only have a look at the park down, Main Park, next to the splash pad, what's the name of that downtown?
Wilmot.
Wilmot Park, the park washrooms down there, are the same thing. They're just regular washrooms, there's nothing special about it.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think we need to look at,
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
we need to look at options, that's all, because I think that price was quite high.
Yeah, like saying we had to have certain fireproof rating and all that, none of these other places do, they're all just made of wood.
I know. There was a really neat, if it was at
Maybe
Blackville, no, it was
yeah.
Doketown.
Maybe.
They had a really neat take on a trampoline. So what they had done was just a regular, it looked like to me just like a regular backyard trampoline, big one. But they had put it in an area where it must have been lower. So then they put boards around the underneath of it and kind of filled in around it so that you could just walk onto the trampoline.
Oh, like a pool deck type of thing.
Kind
Yeah.
of, yeah, and it was filled in with dirt.
Yeah.
around, But you could just go onto the trampoline. It was a lot more fun.
Rather than
Just
climb
saying,
into it.
I mean, I went in, I played on the trampoline. It was great, I have to admit. So, and kids would love it. There was less danger of them
Falling out
and
and
all
falling
of that
3
stuff.
feet
But it
or
was
whatnot,
just
yeah.
a different take, and I thought, oh, that's kind of cool. I like this.
Much better idea, you're at the surface level rather than
Yeah.
have to fall 3 feet and break an arm or whatever.
Yeah.
It'd be neat to kind of think out of the box and get things that aren't right around us, right? And-
Right.
Yeah.
Like this one was in Dogtown. It's the first time I've ever seen it, but it was so much fun to be able to take the kids in there and not even worry about it and just,
Yeah.
it was fun. Anyway.
Okay, anything else?
So is there anything for this building that you want to think about?
We need a couple more of these, don't we?
Yeah. Some more office equipment.
Well, I thought
But
that
you
was
are.
replaced, wasn't that already planned, I thought,
Yeah.
to replace these? Or
I
not?
know, I bought additional ones.
Okay.
I bought 2 more, because we've got 2.
Oh,
Right.
There's the other one, okay.
Oh, right, yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah,
We're good.
let's look after, yeah.
And we're good for audio equipment and all that stuff?
Oh, that owl.
Owl.
Right.
I can show you that quickly.
Okay, let's adjourn this meeting then, we'll move to the owl. Okay, anything else?
Not-
Everybody's happy? Good, all right, meeting adjourned at, what, 8:40?
8:41.